Me and Cooper are the worst, most sucker MCs in the world. We have bad breath, we smell bad, and everybody that we've dated cheats on us because we're not good partners. We have bad teeth and they're rotting, and we're poor, and we come from a bad family, and there's photos of our girlfriends sucking other guys' dicks.
This should sound okay with the AC. If it sounds horrible, then we've learned this episode, but we've done this before and it's been fine. But just for all the audiophiles in the audience,
which we have a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of audiophile listeners. They like to listen to Dagnabbit Boys on vinyl.
Yeah, I like to imagine, like, do you ever see that guy online that was like, he was a Japanese vinyl collector that was so into it that he got his house like put on special like risers so it wouldn't shake as much so the sound was better, and he just like sits in his living room that's like a soundproof room and he closes his eyes and listens. That's who listens to our podcast. It's like 80-year-old men in Japan who are like listening the slightest background noise.
Yeah.
He's running all our stuff through a program that's like trying to find the sound floor. All right, so we got fan mail.
Oh, we do.
People
are
still
fan mail.
Thanks for writing in. People are still writing in.
They're still writing in. I mean,
hard to keep up with.
I copy and pasted the best ones into my notes app.
Oh, perfect.
Because we got a lot.
Yeah, so you just took it from the emails and put it into the notes app.
Yeah.
So much easier, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, it is a lot easier.
Yeah, it's just easier.
Well, here's the way I like to look at it, you know? It's like, because we get a lot of fan mail, you know? And I just wanted to, like, make sure we weren't reading like the bullshit. Oh, we love you guys.
I trust you because
we're like Cooper is so hot.
I don't know. I trust you because I asked you. I was like, could I ever see the emails? And you were like, Joseph Smith didn't let his scribe see the tablets, and he wrote the Book of Mormon doing that. So you think I'm lying to you? And I was like,
I did say that.
Obviously that'd be dumb of me. So
yeah.
Anyway,
let's. I'll let you read it out.
Okay. So this one is from Dagnabbit Boy Fan 68 at Outlook.com.
Oh, wow, we get some impoverished.
That's usually people are naming their whole emails after the podcast.
I mean, it's pretty sick.
Yeah, that usually happens after like years of success. Really, not even even.
Oh, well, have you considered maybe it's like one of their Because I mean, I have a bunch of emails. I have like about 250 emails.
So they saw our podcast and got so excited, they're like, I'm going to pop off another email.
Well, Here's the thing. If you sign up for enough, because you know all of these fucking apps and food places,
right?
They have a birthday thing.
Okay.
So you get a free thing every day if you got enough emails.
Also, it's 420 right now. That's kind of cool.
Oh, okay.
Anyway. He said, hey, guys, subject, favorite podcast. Hey, guys, love the pod. Listening to you guys on my morning commute is one of the brightest parts of my day. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Y'all have such natural chemistry, and I could easily see y'all star in a buddy comedy movie, Spa Rush Hour.
Allah, I guess, is what he was trying to say.
Allah Rush Hour. Okay. One thing, though, does Cooper know that his farts are being picked up by the mic? Best wishes, Daniel. Oh. I don't fart on the podcast. Yeah, because it started off so, I was like, wow, because I start to worry that this is all just some sort of ruse or whatever, and you're trying to make me look like an idiot. But this is, he started.
I don't know how this makes you look like an idiot. Sometimes.
Really? You just haven't told me? I've just been releasing fart podcasts this whole time? All right.
It's,
Anyway, so the second one is Dagnabbit Girl at yahoo.com.
Ooh, we got some lady fans.
Yeah, so that's another good work. Podcast is super funny, and I love how you guys talk about culture. That's kind of fun. You guys rock. Hope Cooper finds some medicine for those loud farts. LOL. Have a wonderful rest of your day. All right. That sucks. I didn't know this was so the second one is from Daniel Donahue, famous at gmail.com. Dan Donahue is a friend of ours. I don't think
that's the
his
same. His
email's not Daniel, but the subject is farts and the body is Cooper's farts, and that's the whole email. So it
kind of sounds like our friend.
I mean, I don't know. Subject. Okay, so this one's from Edward Al Baby B at AOL.com.
I think it's a pun on the Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf author. Like Al Baby.
You just slipped in a joke. Should I know that? You just slip in a joke for yourself into this.
That guy did.
Yeah.
That guy had.
This is a poem. Cooper and Shane are my favorite duo. Their perspective make me laugh and think. Cooper should check his pants for poop, yo. I heard him farting loud, and I can tell that studio stink. Thanks, Darius the poet.
Wow, they're even writing in poetry about us.
Yeah, Darius the poet, who's a play on the Virginia Woolf. So he's a fan of Virginia Woolf, I guess, too.
No, he's a fan of Edward Albee, the author of Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf.
Okay.
I mean, everybody, when that woman was saying she loved we talked about culture, you have no clue who the motherfucking Edward Albee is.
When did that book come out?
60s?
I wasn't around back then.
Yeah? You weren't there for that?
No, I wasn't around back then.
So, I guess we do have to discuss Cooper's farts. And I do want to make it known, I had to comb through hundreds of emails. 80% of them mentioned you farting on the...
So you got hundreds of emails.
Those were the best
you
ones.
Picked out 5 out of hundreds.
Those were the best ones.
Yeah.
A lot of them were racist.
So they all mentioned farting.
Basically all of them.
Because if these are the best and they all mentioned the farting, you couldn't even...
There were some really dark ones in there.
Oh.
Some really graphic ones.
About farting or just like
about
hurting
farting.
me?
About farting. No one mentioned hurting you. Everybody was a fan of everything except for your stinky, smelly farts that I can smell in the studio, and I've been too nice to tell you about.
I was on another podcast recently. Go figure.
Oh, brag.
That premieres live, and
Yeah.
I was reading the live comments because I wanted to feel bad, and it was very funny. I think live comments suck because people can say stuff and then just say another thing right after it. So a guy was like, this guy Cooper's kind of funny. And I was like, well, that's not great, but that's a start. And then 2 minutes later, he goes, Cooper was eh. And I was like, man, if he only had one comment, he wouldn't have had time to come back. But he came back and he could have left it.
What podcast was this?
It was William Montgomery's, but they premiere it live. We should, here's what I think we should do. Because we should record the podcast and premiere it live. So it's being posted as we're recording.
Yeah.
And we have a screen, get like an 80-inch television screen.
Oh, so the idea is that they'll tell you when you fart.
And we'll...
So maybe you won't do it.
Yeah, so the live stream would be an 87-inch television screen TV with a bunch of small boxes that are each viewers, and it's hundreds of people that can all talk anytime they want.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's us trying to talk, and then it's hundreds of people just going, "You're fucking farting. We can hear it." And then an old guy like, "I can tell that studio stink." And then people are like, "Fuck this shit." And people are like, "If this motherfucker doesn't stop farting, I'm gonna find out where they live." And they're like really mad.
There was a guy who said something kind of similar to that.
That he was like pissed, like to the extent of like,
he actually was happy about it. He said he wanted to. He said he found your phone number online. He looked it up. He found the address.
Yeah.
And he said he was going to come here so he could just smell the stinky studio.
Yeah. And kill me or just...
No.
Okay.
No, man. He's a fan.
Yeah, man.
He wants more podcast.
Yeah, he wants more of it. I get it. When I was listening to the last podcast, I realized all last episode, all you did was just pretend not to know things. And then I'm just dumb so I just explained things to you and you explained it at the beginning of the episode. You're like, I don't really want to do this. I'm tired. And then you would just say things that you knew were wrong. And then I would explain them to you for 10 minutes. And I was rewatching it and I was like, this is grueling. And I was like, does this happen every episode? But anyway.
I don't know. I feel like maybe we should cut that one, to be honest. Because it's like...
No, it was good.
You just said it was grueling.
Yeah, but there's something to it. You know what I mean? It's like an ultra marathon, you know?
Oh, you think so? You think people are going to listen to that podcast? Like I don't like this, but I respect that it's a marathon.
Yeah, pretty much.
What marathon? Boston Marathon? 2014 or whenever that happened?
Was it 2014?
When did that happen? We know people that were in that marathon, I think.
I don't think so. I think
we
just
do
know people from the Boston area.
No, shout out to Sellout Comedy. I'm pretty sure Adam Sloves was in the marathon.
Oh, that's fucking crazy. Did he finish or was he? I
know that he wasn't around the bomb at all.
Yeah.
Cuz he's he has all his arms and legs.
The life loss is one thing, but nobody talks about the fact that so many people's dreams of finishing a marathon also ended that day. Like,
well, also a lot of people's dreams of like if they wanted to climb like 300 sets of stairs in their lifetime, It was just thrown out the window when they lost their legs.
Yeah, motherfuckers standing on the side watching the marathon go, I may never run a marathon, but one day I will climb 300 sets of stairs. And then they're 45 feet away from a bomb that shattered their kneecaps and didn't kill them, but...
Yeah, but they can't do their dream.
They can't.
And there's a guy next to that's like, in my whole life, I wanted to do 10,000 jumping jacks, and he had done 9,000 jumping jacks, 9,999 jumping jacks.
And he was like,
and he's like, I'm gonna take a break to go to my favorite thing, which is the marathon,
the Boston Marathon. But tomorrow I will do 10,000 jumping jacks. And he was, and there's a guy doing a hacky sack, and he was like, I'll probably do this until the day I die. And then he couldn't do it the next day, you know?
Oh, yeah. And that guy is 80 years old now. He was 20 when it happened. Now he's 80.
Have you seen the video of that?
No, I've seen pictures that are really fucked up.
It's really upsetting.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Just...
Yeah, what do you think a bomb going off and blowing a bunch of people up is going to be fun?
They made a whole documentary about it. It was a terrible documentary. They just showed the explosion 90 times and were like... It was so fucked up, and I was like, what's the point of this documentary? This is really fucked up. Like, you're not even... They wouldn't talk about the case. They just kept showing the explosion. But yeah, it's just like, I mean, it's just a bunch of people on the side of the street, and then they all fucking die.
Yeah.
And it's so aggressive. You know what? It's just, you sound so stupid. I know I sound dumb talking about it. It's so aggressive. So aggressive.
You ever watch, like, a movie that's based on, like, a real crime, but it's there's no documentary footage or anything. But it gets to the point where it's so graphic that you're like, come on, man, these are like real people. Like, I watched a movie on the Manson family.
Okay.
And it was like the last 20 minutes were like so insanely violent that it was like, come on, man. Like, these are like 8 real people who died. Yeah. Like, why are you trying to satiate my bloodlust by showing me like a pregnant woman getting stabbed 40 times?
The Manson family is like one of those things that's been in the culture for so long that people think of it almost like as it was an old TV show.
Yeah.
Because when people will talk about the Manson family, like, oh, it was part of the 60s. There was Woodstock, the Brady Bunch, the Mansons, or whatever, and it's like, or the 70s, and it's like, yeah, but that was that was a murder.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like you guys laugh about it now, or I don't.
Yeah, I mean, we were laughing about it before,
but it's like
podcast.
Yeah, but
I just mentioned it, and Cooper started laughing, and I was like, "Dude, people died," and he started laughing harder.
Well, yeah, because you walked in, you were like the fucking Manson family, and I was like, for real, they all deserved it. But it just has been around long enough that people act like it was a fucking movie, and you're like, they murdered a pregnant woman.
Yeah,
for like like they just took acid and murdered a pregnant woman.
Hey, you said it was for no reason. It was actually for racist reasons.
Was that it?
Well, they thought that the album, the White Album, was like it was like the Beatles were telling us there was going to be a race war.
Oh, yeah.
But they said in the movie that I was watching that that's not why they did the murders. They didn't really give a good explanation of why the murders actually happened.
Were they? Because I know, like, Charles Manson eventually got a swastika tattooed, and I don't know if that was just him being in prison.
I think it was a prison thing.
Or it's him being like, fuck everybody. But like, were they also white supremacists? Like, kind of low-key, like, kind of like hippie white supremacists that were like, well, why would they kill a white woman that was pregnant if you're going to be in a race war? You're going to need that baby. That doesn't even make...
Well, was
it because they hated Roman Polanski?
I don't...
Why would they kill Sharon Tate?
They would go to these, like, famous and rich people's houses and, like, rob them. They called it creepy crawling.
Yeah.
And then eventually they just got to the point where their creepy crawling involved killing these people. They just thought rich people were pigs.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like...
But that's a problem.
There is a scene, because Charles Manson, I guess, did kill a black man. He, like, killed a guy because he thought he was a member of the Black Panthers or something. There was, like, something with... Like, this one guy, Tex Watson, stole money from this black guy, and Charles Manson, like, killed him, but he also thought that, like, some fucked up shit was going to happen because he was in the Black Panthers, but he wasn't really.
Yeah, so for all you Charles Manson lovers, he's a fucking racist.
Yeah, cancel Charles Manson.
Yeah, if you thought everything he did was cool before, turns out he's fucking racist.
Yeah, if you think stabbing a pregnant woman 8 times in the stomach is sick... Maybe check your privilege and think that to get there, sometimes you have to think the N-word a bunch of times.
It is crazy that if you do a crime that somehow you tell other people to do it and it's like really heinous, like people will be like, whoa, he's so interesting. He's like a mastermind of some kind. And it's like, No, he's a fucking idiot. Like he hated like rich people, and then he just murdered a pregnant woman.
Oh,
Can you
yeah.
imagine? Like, it's not like the USSR ended up great, but it's like Lenin was all mad about that stuff, about, you know, rich people having all the money, and he was like, let's start a new government. And then Charles Manson is like mad about the same thing, and he's like, I'm gonna go fucking kill that lady. And
Yeah.
it's like, you fucking idiot. He's
He's like, I'm gonna kill the hottest pregnant woman ever.
you just killed a hot lady with a good life.
Yeah.
It's like it's what a misunderstanding of anything that you're like, she must
It's
be the
kind
one.
of a farce.
Like, she's the one in power. It's like, no, she's hot and she's a good act. People like her. She's just likable. She's
Yeah.
not the president. What are you doing? Go kill the president.
Yeah, if you're any Charles Mansons out there today, you know what you got to do.
That's why this is a pro John Hinckley, anti Charles Manson podcast.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say that. I had a riff, but I think people might take it seriously.
I mean, everything on this podcast should be taken seriously.
Yeah, I mean, this is serious business.
I mean, every single fucking word.
Yeah.
Do you think I set up this cool background in my apartment to bullshit?
Yeah, no.
To
Well,
say
if you
some
guys want to know,
untruths?
I mean, with the protests going on, I mean, I was at my job yesterday, and a bunch of pro-Palestinians, like protesters, came to my job, and they knocked the dick out of my mouth.
They knocked the dick out of your mouth.
Yeah. I was like I was sucking dick because I'm a prostitute,
Yeah.
and they came in and they're like, "Hey, we hate joy because we're woke."
How many meetings or like just quick Zoom or emails do you think you get through with Fox News to possibly get on television with that story? You know what I mean? Like, email or call, be like, I was working at a Chick-fil-A or whatever, and they're like, and then pro-Palestinian protesters came and they knocked the cock out of my mouth at work. How many people could you talk to? Because the first time they'd be like, I don't know what that means, but I'm sure this is and they would,
Yeah.
you could maybe get on Gutfeld or something.
Well, I think what I would do is pro-Palestinian protesters have been coming like to my job, like, and then just bury the lead. Like, they came in, they knocked the cock out of my
Yeah, once you're on television, you say, and they knock the cock right out of my mouth. And they're like, what do you mean? You're like, I had a cock right in my mouth, and they came in.
I'm a prostitute.
Well, I'm a prostitute, sir. I whore myself outside of a Chick-fil-A.
Yes.
And they came in and knocked the cock out of my mouth, and then tried to gouge me on my prices. I sucked off 100 Palestinians. I've been going to all the protests at colleges because I can't believe they're. So I go to the protests and I'm like, listen, John Hinckley should be free. All you people need to go home. You are wrong about John Hinckley.
Yeah,
you don't know anything about John Hinckley. He cares about Jodie Foster.
I go to the protests and I look at both sides and I'm like, all you motherfuckers is bullshitting.
Do you?
Yeah.
And then
you're all full of shit.
Yeah, and you get like a slab, you get like a nice Cadillac with some poking rims,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
swing through them, and you're like, this is real shit. Y'all argue.
I show up like I got a boombox and it's just playing really hardcore rap music.
Uh-huh.
I'm just like, hey, you guys like being real? Check this shit out. And I do a kickflip wall, and then the boombox is like on the. I don't fuck. It doesn't drop.
Yeah,
at
it
all.
doesn't get fucked up. You're
Yeah.
calling everybody a buster. You're calling everybody some buster ass suckers, and you have no idea what they're even.
I'm like
talking
purposefully dropping my rhyme book in front of them. I'm like, hey, look, they're looking at they want to steal my rhymes. Everybody here wants my rhymes.
Yeah, they trying to jack all my rhymes. I worked hard on this shit. These is bars, and they know. Yeah, and then you have like your own.
I got some lugubrious ass rhyme schemes and shit.
You're doing like an E40 news segment. It's like, they've gone mischievous with my lugubrious rhymes. Pointing at all of them, and everybody's like, I don't know, that guy's like a third party. Yeah, you're wearing really tiny but dark sunglasses and a leather Kangol hat. Y'all trying to jack my flow. Y'all some whack ass busters. Should we go to the protest and to both sides just shit on them for not being real hip hop? And we'll like show up with like we'll be like old school.
You guys is pop rap.
Yeah, we'll show up with like turntables, and we'll have like cool, like very bright Pan-African shirts and medallions, you know what I mean? Yeah, they'll all be, and we'll have the freshest Adidas. We're talking about everybody's shoes.
Hey, that pro-Palestinian protester there tried to scuff my sneakers.
like everybody's yelling at each other, and we're like, "Hey, everybody, shut up and listen to this," and then you're like, and then we got like cardboard, and I'm like breakdancing.
Yeah.
Y'all ain't no Iron Dome can stop this, and then I'm just breakdancing. Maybe that kind of
Maybe that bring everybody together.
maybe chill everybody the fuck out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Maybe the Zionist protesters would stop like throwing human shit at the guys in the tents and stuff.
Yeah, maybe we could be like
It's so funny that we do just like literally live in a fascist state. It's like so obvious at this point.
You mean with the way
Like the police, like they're just throwing the police at the protesters. Like you should be allowed to just protest. You should be allowed to protest whatever you want.
Well, it's so fucking weird because whenever there's
you should be able to camp out of women's houses when they're getting laid and just be like, "She better come."
That is funny. If you do that alone, you're like harassing somebody.
Yeah.
But if you got like 100 people, you're a movement. And even though it's remarkably more dangerous, it's, I think, more legally protected, maybe? I don't know. But it's definitely not. But yeah, I mean, because they bring cops to every protest because they're like, oh, well, we just don't want to make sure nothing crazy happens. And it's like, well, you're the ones that make crazy stuff happen.
Yeah.
Like, you're the ones that kill people at the protest. None of these
You think cops, they leave the station like, we about to get crazy.
Yeah, none of these, like, 19-year-old kids on either side have guns with them. They were just going to come over here and yell at each other and make their voices seen, and whichever one has the bigger group subtly wins for the day, and that's, fun.
I don't know. It seems like the videos I've seen is of the Zionists being like pretty aggressive.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
they've been pretty violent.
Well,
were you there for the open mic where
Yes.
Oh, when the woman cried?
Yes.
Oh, wow. You want to talk about that on the pod?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just sum it. There was a woman that came to your open mic. She was Israeli, and she spoke how a lot of people from Israel do, where she was like, yeah, I mean, it's just so funny. All of you guys are wrong. And I mean, it is one of those things where it's like, if I was Israeli, I'd probably be the exact same person.
Oh,
but she was just, like a kind of an utter disregard for any of the kind of war crimes that are happening mostly on her side.
Yeah.
And then we all just didn't laugh or kind of chuckled at like, damn, she's really going for it.
Yeah.
And then another comic who's an American Jew who's like, very educated on that, likes to keep up with all that stuff, went up and was just like, I mean, you can be Jewish and not fucking kill kids and shit.
Yeah.
And then she was like, and then walked out. And I guess our friend Sam asked her, he was like, you told that joke before? She's like, yeah. And he was like, does it go like that every time? And she was like, And like, she would not answer the question.
Well, she called our friend the first Jewish anti-Semite she ever met.
Right, which, I mean, that's why it was annoying, because it's like, well, ma'am, are you just acting like you've never heard of a Jew not being on board with everything Israel's doing for the entire history? There's sections, there are like Orthodox Jews in Israel that are getting beaten up by the IDF because they're opposing what the IDF is doing and Netanyahu's doing. So it's like, people don't.
Yeah,
she was
just
playing
being
dumb.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's what's annoying on either side of anything, is when somebody's just playing dumb about things. When they're like, well, there's just no conversation to have at all.
One of my favorite parts of her set was when she was complaining about the bomb shelters they have to go to. She was like, I was just getting laid, and then the bomb shelter. She's like complaining about that. It's like somebody's life just got ruined.
Yeah.
And you just like couldn't bust a nut.
That's why it's a tough issue, because it's hard to convince somebody that a bomb shelter is actually a luxury.
Yeah.
But it's hard to get, because they're like, well, I shouldn't need to have a bomb shelter. And you're like, well, think about why the bombs are coming. And then also think about the fact that the bombs you're sending to them, they don't have an Iron Dome or a bomb shelter. They're just getting laid, and then they blow up.
Oh, yeah.
So they're not even...
They're getting blown up. They still have the cock inside it. And then the cock gets blown up by the bomb. I mean, it's just still stuck inside.
I don't know why she thought that would work, because you can't fight for your side of a war and say you're the only victim when you're doing stand-up comedy.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you're doing stand-up, an utterly useless act for nobody.
Yeah.
Doing it for free. And you're talking about how you're the one who's afraid.
Yeah.
You're crazy. Like, go get medicine right now. You can. That's crazy that you're, so it's like,
She also showed up with her boyfriend, who's this older man. Pretty funny guy. Honestly, her boyfriend's pretty fun.
Well, that was also funny because it was like a world issue mixing with like a small domestic issue of like the guy being kind of embarrassed of his girlfriend, because you could tell that he was like, oh man, everybody hates my girlfriend, which does suck if you're anywhere and you're like, everybody in this room hates the person I'm with.
Yeah.
And
it was also
thinks I'm a bitch.
Yeah.
They don't, because we didn't hate him. We're just like, you fucking loser.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You're not happy. Look at you. You can tell this woman just, it's not even related to the issue at all. You can just tell she just sort of sucks. She just has, because she has an arrogant air about a war going on. It's like, even if you're winning the war, where is this arrogance coming from? It's very funny to think that. I mean, it would be like, you know, if like a Russian walked into an open mic and was just like, fucking Ukraine losers, you know? It's like,
we have seen.
Have we?
I've seen it at like...
Are there like pro-Russian comics in LA?
Yes.
I mean, I guess so, but like people from
we know
Russia...
one. I'm not gonna like name. I'm not gonna try to shame him on the podcast or whatever.
Yeah.
But we know one. We both know.
I mean, listen, I don't think you're evil if you're pro-Russia, but I'm just saying it would never work in stand-up comedy to go up and...
Depends where you are. She kind of showed up to the wrong open mic.
Yeah, I mean, no. There's tons of open mics in LA she could have gone to.
Yeah, people just kind of would have been silent.
She went to a Mexican...
You can't come to me and Peter's mic.
Yeah, I mean,
two psychos.
You went to an open mic in a Mexican restaurant run by a white guy from Nashville who's liberal, so that's a wild person. And then you have Peter Scoble, who's one of the nicest guys ever. He's half white, I think half... Lebanese?
He's like, he's like
Middle
Egyptian.
Eastern, Egyptian. But also heavily enmeshed with like LA Chicano culture.
Yeah.
And like cholos and shit.
Peter rules.
And
dude.
you know what people might not know is cholos for the most part are pretty pro-Palestine.
Yeah.
The same with Ireland. There's a connection between Palestine, Ireland, and Mexico and Mexican American culture. Yeah. They're all locked into the same.
I call that the Trinity.
It's really the Holy Trinity. I mean, it's, you know, three cool groups of people doing their thing. But yeah, I mean, it
was funny though. I kind of talked shit on her, but like it was like she didn't really seem to care that much.
Well, yeah, because I mean, you know, you just went up and you did what you should do is you just sort of made fun of her in an open way, in a kind of a dumb way, because you were being honest with yourself. You're like, well, I don't know about the issue, so I'm not going to go up and spit facts.
Yeah, and
then somebody else did that for you.
Oh yeah. Well, somebody got to go up and make her cry, and I just had to go up and be like, you know, hey, hosting open mic's tough because you got to like make everybody happy, and you got to reset the room. But then somebody comes up sometimes. And they're like, I love genocide.
Yeah, I mean, she also just cried after hearing a person describe things
that are true.
Her army did. So it wasn't like the person went up and was like, fuck Israel.
Yeah.
They were just like, these are some things Israel's done, like cutting off food supply lines. Yeah. And then she heard that and cried.
Damn, you think maybe she was crying because she had a change of heart?
I mean, that's like if I fucking went to Japan and made fun of the nuke and then somebody explained the fallout from the nuke and then I cried and left the open mic. It was like, oh no, like, what are you talking about? I mean,
there's this funny part in the...
It's not the same conflict. I know that's the issue with
in the Motley Crue book, the Dirt, where they got like they really pissed off a lot of people in Hiroshima when they were doing a concert because they started with like a song that was like, I dropped a bomb on you.
Did they cover the song? It's like, you dropped a bomb on...
No, I think they actually have a song that's like about bombs.
Oh, man.
And they just did it purposely.
Yeah, so it's just Motley Crue style.
Yeah.
Man, can you imagine you're just like 30... I mean, when was that? Like the 80s?
Yeah.
There were more, maybe 90? I don't know. But... So it's like 30 to 40 years after the bomb drop and your country's like, you're like the daughters and sons of that generation, and then you go out for like a fun night and the first thing is like, fucking getting bombed. and you just have like generational, like in your gene trauma.
Yeah.
And
it's like, my grandpa's a puddle of goo.
I mean, yeah, just how quiet. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's like what happened to Grandpa. It's like
he's half goo.
They made him dust. He was half goo, half dust. And then Motley Crue comes.
He's like 1/4 goo, 1/4 dust, 1/4 shadow, 1/4 man.
And then a bunch of white guys that are dressed like women from hell. Dressed like
just like the biggest fucking you say it ever.
I mean, just dressed like just like hookers from hell is what they look like. Like if you were to get a sex worker in hell, it's all of Motley Crue, and then they're like, "You're gonna get burned in a
and
fire."
They're not even that great. They're not good. It's so funny reading that book, and they do all these badass rock and roll things, but then they're also just still Motley Crue. So it's like, who gives a shit, really?
Yeah, I loved Motley Crue when I was like 5.
I like that song, "Kickstart My Heart." I like that song.
I mean, it's like their songs are good, but when you re-listen to them as an adult, you're like, dude, these are like rock and roll songs for a 5-year-old of just like shout at the devil, and that's like 5 minutes. That's like most of the song. It's the easiest. I mean, it makes sense why it'd be international music. You don't need to speak English to sing along with the songs.
Yeah. It's
like 4 words, and they say them like one every 10 seconds.
Yeah, and they're like trying so hard to not say pussy.
I do think
they're like girls.
Yeah.
It's like, what's that song really about? Fucking a girl from behind while you finger her asshole?
Yeah, those I fucking love 80s rocker guys, especially the guys that were into that shit and still hang out on Sunset Boulevard and are like 60 with like jet black hair and a leather jacket, and they're
those guys look insane.
They're just like, oh man, Nikki Sixx, and like I don't know, they're so like, even the story of how Motley Crue got their name is the gayest fucking story in the world, but it's like cool to like Gen X fucking Sunset guys. It's just, they're just in the back of a limo and some manager or something got in and said, oh, well, isn't this a Motley Crue? And then they were like, oh, that is hardcore. And it's like, I don't know. I like those guys that are like 50 and they just get together and tell stories that aren't theirs.
Yeah.
About bands that they've seen at like the Kia Forum. You know what I mean?
You know what my favorite rock and roll story is of all time? Is in the book Please Kill Me. It's an oral history of punk. And they talk about the Stooges. Like, they used to live in this abandoned warehouse in Detroit. Detroit famous for having abandoned buildings. And they would do heroin in the fucking building. And they would take the little needles full out of blood and they would squirt the blood all over the walls.
Yeah.
Like it's punk. And then they would just bring women back there to fuck them with their blood house.
Yeah, see, like, that's a cool rock and roll story because it has nothing to do with rock and roll. It's just guys being insane.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
That's just cool because if those guys didn't have a band, they're like the most fucked up, disgusting guys ever. But since they have a band, it's like, no, these guys are purists.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they're real.
There's so much shit I do that if I wasn't a comedian, everyone would be like, this guy's fucking crazy.
I was thinking about that just with like releasing a bunch of podcasts where I'm just saying things I don't really remember for years.
Yeah.
I'm just like, yeah, if you're like a normal guy trying to get a job, it's pretty weird to have like 60 hours of you just saying really uncouth shit.
Well, I mean, there's probably some recording of you talking shit about whatever profession that you're in. It's like,
yeah,
man, anybody that washes dishes is a punk.
You're trying to get a job at Chili's, and they're like, what's you calling all dishwashers buster-ass motherfuckers here? And you're like, hey, man, come on, that was me in my younger days.
Yeah.
Fucking...
It's public, so I'm technically talking to everybody.
Yeah, it is funny how punk can either be like, you have a band like Crass, that's like, we all wear black, so nobody knows who the leader is, and we have 3 singers, and we like start... Like, they like... started like food drives and were actually trying, like, they were anarchists, but then they tried to actually help people and like were pretty about their goals.
They were also like, they like didn't like fucking or like drugs.
Yeah,
so they had to like do drugs and fuck on the sly.
Yeah, they're very well, they're liars then.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're like, they're like more serious than a lot of punk bands in terms of like, well, we're talking about this shit, let's try and be about it. But then also in the same vein, people are like, yeah, punk means putting shit on my fucking face. And it's like, how is this the same thing? You know what I mean? And it's like, because some people hear anarchy and then Crash is like, let's try and set up an anarchist society, which is fucking impossible. But they're trying to do it. And then there's other guys like, yeah, anarchy. I'm going to take my dick out in front of a 15-year-old girl in the subway. And it's like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Or just like, I mean, the Sex Pistols are like the opposite of Crass, where they're just made by like a fashion company, and then Sid Vicious is like, yeah, I'm going to be a Nazi.
Yeah.
But he's like, what the fuck are you talking
It's so
about?
crazy that Sid Vicious is technically a murderer. Because he like killed his fucking girlfriend, right? Maybe I'm wrong. But that feels right.
Did he do that? Well, didn't they like die the same night or something? Did he?
I think what happened was Sid Vicious's mom, she brought heroin to the prison he was in, and he killed himself with the heroin.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, but I think he killed her somehow. I don't remember.
Yeah, I mean, he was a fucking piece of shit, and it sucks because
I mean, his music's great. I sent you the My Way cover, one of the most punk songs ever.
But is his music great?
Yeah, I mean, the My Way cover's good.
Yeah, but it just sucks that he's like remembered the most in punk, and he like couldn't play bass and was like only put in the band because he would cut himself on stage.
Well, he's like I'm the edgy guy.
Yeah, it's just
he's that song Belson Was a Gas.
Yeah, it's like he's a fucking like edgelord. He was so stupid. He had no idea what anybody was actually talking about, because they're like, the reason all the other punks were so fucking angry is because they were like, the society's so fucked up, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna make fun of the Holocaust. It's like, what? How dumb are you? You just, because he just like saw that, he just saw.
Well, the point of the
being...
Holocaust stuff was to antagonize the older British people who fought through World War II. It wasn't just like a glib thing. I mean, it was still glib, but
so
the purpose
he's just
was
antagonizing the older generation.
Yeah.
What, that fought the Nazis?
Yeah.
What's his gripe with them?
Well, I guess the idea is those are the people who came home and fucked everything up.
I guess so, but then just talk about that part. Listen,
that's
I'm
not
saying,
punk, dog.
If you
that's
don't,
not punk.
If you don't like an older generation,
that's like being like.
No, but here's what I'm saying: if you don't like an older generation, you shouldn't attack them for defeating the Nazis. It's the worst argument that if
I think it wasn't even like, I think, attacking them for that as much as it was just being like shocking them with how glib they're being about it.
I mean, I guess so, but
yeah, but it's like,
it's just, why stop there?
Why not just straight up kill every old person?
Well, no, it's like Crass has a song, "Do They Owe Us a Living?" Of course they fucking do. And it's like they're doing the same thing Sid is doing, but they're just actually saying the thing they're mad about.
Yeah.
As opposed to Sid, who's like,
there's different ways of approaching
I'm going to be a bad kid. No, there's not.
Yes, there is.
There's
you can't just,
one way, and
you can't
it's
just
the right
say
way.
what you actually mean. That's
no, I know what you mean. I mean, it's dumb to critique it because it's the point of it is to be art, not to be anything else. So I can stop there.
It is also funny.
I
do think
Sid Vicious is a fraud, and it sucks that he's known as like the sickest punk guy ever because he's a faggot. And he's
Sid Vicious did kind of like,
he's an idiot.
Everybody that
was just an idiot
doing punk in LA was trying so hard to be Sid Vicious, of like, I'm gonna do the most fucked up shit possible.
You think in LA?
I mean, Hollywood had some insane fucking punk act. Like
who?
The Mentors. That's like, I think, the most famous for just being insane. They call themselves Rape Rock. Because it was all like pro-rape, and like it was really just purposely the most offensive stuff they could do. There was Fear, who's famous. Fear's kind of like the Mentors, but a lot less, not as extreme.
Yeah, but like the rape rock shit is it's just so fucking pointless to me. Because it's
we also live in 2022 or 2024 where all that shit's already been done.
No, but not. I'm saying even back then, it's just pointless because it's like, okay,
we were just kind of in a different moment culturally.
You have punk, so it's like you're allowed to be as wild as you want, and you can talk about things that like actually piss you off, and then instead of that, you just talk about just raping people.
I mean, I'm not saying that they're good guys.
I'm not. I mean, it doesn't matter, but it's just. I don't know. You're right.
It's honestly, the Mentors is one of those things that I like enjoy listening to, but I don't like. I'm not like gonna be like, this shit is good or recommend it.
Yeah, I also listen to a lot of stuff I don't agree with the subject matter of either. So, but I don't know. I just do have a bias against, because it's the same thing as like comedy where people are like, yeah, this is what comedy's about. I'm gonna go up and just say awful things.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's not the point of it. You're viewing it a very it's a very surface level observation, which is what bothers me. It's like, you've never done punk, you go to a punk show, you see their stage diving and being crazy, and you're like, that's all punk is just being crazy.
But what you're really critiquing is the people that followed those guys. rather than those guys themselves.
Yeah, the people that. But I think Sid Vicious.
But also, Sid
Vicious is those guys.
You do, I think, as a artist, do have to you have to contend with who you are attracting, and
yeah.
Like,
listen,
if you attract mostly slime balls, then it's like you should probably reconsider what you're doing.
Yeah, well, because it's like Sid Vicious is like an idiot that a lot of other idiots were like, oh, I should do what he does, and it's like nothing about what he does is worth it, in my opinion.
Oh, you know another funny thing about LA punk? They were obsessed with the Hillside Strangler. Like a lot of punk bands would just do songs about how that guy was like so cool that he killed those women. Like kind of almost the mission statement of a lot of LA punk was just to say the most obnoxious shit possible.
Yeah, I don't know enough about LA punk.
Greatest punk scene in the world, baby.
Yeah, I only know like Black Flag. I'm a poser. I have a lot of opinions, but real poser.
Yeah, I used to listen to a lot of punk when I was like in a teenager.
Yeah, I would go to a lot of shows. For years. I haven't been to a punk show in a while. I was going to go to one recently, but then my friend could not go.
There's a band called the Child Molesters out of Hollywood.
Don't do that.
They were from the 70s, which is funny.
But there's also just a lot of good, like, regular hardcore from LA that's not, like, rape rock.
Oh, of course not. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like...
We're one of the biggest hardcore centers in the world.
What's the biggest, DC?
I feel like DC, Southern California are, like, the most hardcore in America.
Yeah.
Because I don't think... I mean, it's everywhere, but I think definitely... And especially nowadays with, like, Mexican kids in garages. There's like a lot of the hardcore scene in LA that they're carrying it on.
I was thinking the other day,
and I don't think they're talking about raping people.
They might be.
I think they're just talking about how shit's fucked up and it's fucking bullshit.
I was thinking today, I listened to a lot of horrorcore, and like the only people that I know that listen to guys like Brother Lynch Hung are Mexican. Like, all of the guys I know that, like, every time I post a Brother Lynch Hung song, it's all, like, Mexican guys who are like, I love that guy.
I don't know.
And at my old job in Madison, Tennessee, it was all, like, I guess the black guys there also liked Brother Lynch.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I feel like it's not, white people don't listen to horrorcore other than, like,
white people, we don't really...
the Juggalos.
We're more afraid of death, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Mexicans are into, Dia de los Muertos, spooky shit.
Yeah.
Being scared, being like, damn, look at that spooky ass shit. That's fucked up.
Mexicans love horror.
Yeah.
They love that shit.
White people are like, please do not interrupt my life.
Do not scare me. If you go behind a Mexican and go, what? They're like, this fool is cool.
They're like, that's what life is all about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Fucking ups and downs. You fucking never know what's going to happen. White people are like, do not scare me.
Yeah.
Do not. I am trying to
If you spook a white guy, he might kill you.
I am trying to buy things. Do not scare me.
I feel like
yeah, white guys will just kill you. That's our whole thing. It's just like, white guys, more than anybody, we love just being like,
every mass shooter
do not fuck
looks
with me.
Spook. You ever look at the mugshot? They look so spooked.
Yeah, all the mugshots.
Yeah, like they saw a ghost. They must have somebody must have come up behind him and went, and then they're like, I gotta kill 50 kids.
Yeah, I mean, we always think everybody's trying to fucking kill us. And I think it's just because we stole a lot of the land we live on, so our whole thing
we have like a pretty good reason.
We just have a whole defensive nature of just like, I'm the last motherfucker you want to fuck with.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And then everybody else is just like, sometimes you get fucked with. You gotta fucking you gotta deal with that. Be a strong culture and not just buy more guns. But we're like, no, dude. Do not fuck with me. I mean, that's the half of like white guys in America. Their whole personality is just like, I'm the last motherfucker you want to fuck with. I mean, I'm a fucking wall.
Yeah.
Okay. You think you run on for a long time, God's gonna cut you down. I think white people love more than anything hearing songs like that Johnny Cash song of just like, you're gonna get what's coming to you, motherfucker. You get what you deserve.
And they're all thinking about their dad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, every one of those songs, every guy listens to it like, yeah, my dad's getting what's coming to him.
Yeah, because in public, they're like, my dad was a fucking hard-ass, real hard worker, Marine, and it's that all their dad did was just fuck him day and night as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, yeah, he taught me to be fucking a man. And
yeah, my dad would come into my room with a mustache and one of those Groucho Marx glasses on,
Yeah.
and he would say he was Uncle Joey, but he
Yeah.
wasn't Uncle Joey. I
was
knew it was
obvious.
my dad every night.
So obvious.
My dad didn't even try to hide it. He wore his mechanic's jacket that had his name on it when he was, but he tried to claim he was Uncle Joey.
It does suck. There's a big problem in America. It's just guys trying to be like their dad and talking about how their dad was fucking sick. And it's like, dude, your dad was a monster. Like your dad was Satan incarnate. Your dad was one of the worst people in the world. And you want to be like him?
Your dad
that sucks. I'm so sorry.
Your dad sees an earthquake and is like, I actually love this. I wish this feeling was all the time.
Your dad told you about killing people as soon as you could understand it. As you were once you started talking, he was
your
like,
first words was help.
I've looked in a girl's eyes when the light is left. As soon as you could be awake, your dad told you that.
Yeah. Your dad's so evil. Your first words was help.
Yeah. And
your first words was stop.
Yeah. And then it's some guy that's just like a fucking really good at welding, and he's like, man, if I could just ribbon as good as my dad. It's like, he was Satan. You lived in hell. You gotta move on. It sucks. I had a great dad.
Yeah, it's weird.
Sucks when people have bad dads. I had a great fucking dad.
Yeah.
I don't have I was thinking about my parents. Neither of them are really relatable parents to explain in comedy. Because like my mom just set a great example in terms of like behaving very well and like keeping a smile on your face and like dressing very well and presenting and like having class, but has also always been very nice and giving and loving and was never cold at the same time. And then my dad was just like very supportive, but he was really into art. So he would just push me into art. So none of that is funny.
No.
I mean, the only thing funny is
people just turned off the podcast.
I mean, my dad like writes songs and stuff, but like that's kind of funny. But yeah, everybody has like parents are like, oh, well, you go home and you fight with your parents. It's like, I agree with a lot of what my parents say. They're very level-headed, nice people. They're pretty easy to agree with. I never yelled at my mom.
Yeah, people go home and they're like, you know how your dad's always like, he's always like, they should cut the ears off of dogs because they taste good.
I don't got any of that. Yeah. Yeah, when people go home to their dad and they're like, man, I just wish I could open up an orphanage over a uranium plant and drop kids into it. I don't have any of that kind of stuff. And be like, oh man, I'd love to watch a kid swallow a cooling rod, from the uranium plant I work at. It's all I think about is throwing a kid into that boiling water. I don't have any of that. That doesn't happen for me. I just have a nice, supportive California parents.
Yeah. Don't you hate when your dad's like, I want to become a trained surgeon, and then during the last minute of the operation, I take a fat shit inside of the guy's chest cavity and then sew it back up, and then he dies from sepsis.
Yeah, when
your dad's like saying this shit to you?
Yeah, when your fucking dad comes home drunk and he's like, I'm a fucking surgeon, and then he starts trying to cut your ass up, and he's like, you don't need your appendix, boy. And he's trying to get your appendix so he can fucking stuff it, which doesn't even make sense. And he's just following you around.
Your dad just has a bunch of organs hanging on his wall.
Well, he doesn't
just
even have
organs.
He doesn't even have a knife. He just has shards of an Evan Williams bottle coming out of his hand, and he's just trying to claw you.
He's like, these have been here since the 80s.
Yeah, I've had
Evan Williams sticking out of my hand.
I've had glass in my hand since the 80s.
They call me bitch Wolverine.
Just let me open you up. Come on, just let me get a good slice. I'll open you up. From there, I can just grab and grab. Let me smash and grab your stomach.
Yeah, when you go home to your dad at Thanksgiving and he starts cutting his leg. He starts cutting his leg with a razor blade and then purposely infecting it because he wants to put pus in all the food. Yeah,
that pisses me off so much. When you go home and then your dad self-harms in front of the entire family at Thanksgiving, and it's like this.
And it's just to hurt everybody.
Yeah, it's just to hurt us. Because he's so numb to the pain now that he just knows us seeing it will hurt us more than it will him physically. That motherfucker. Normal dads that do that. Not like my dad, my nice dad. Yeah, I hate those normal dads that are like, oh, I'm a sword swallower. And then all they do is just swallow a Gillette razor blade and start screaming and choking. But they don't give a fuck if they live or die. Makes no sense.
I hate going home and then my dad makes my 3-year-old little sister drink a bunch of Evan Williams, and then he drives her to the bad part of town and just lets her out.
Yeah,
and he's
what the fuck? Why do they do that?
Why did dads do this shit?
I hate when you go home for family dinner And then your dad leaves the table and comes back and pours himself a glass of white paint and says, my life doesn't matter. I guess I'll just drink a cup of paint. You guys won't fucking stop me. And then he chugs a cup of paint.
Yeah, dude, I hate when your dad leaves the dinner table and he comes back with rabies.
Yeah.
And he's like, I just ate a rabies dog pussy.
Yeah.
I cheated on your mom with a rabies dog.
Yeah, I hate when your dad goes on Grindr to find unprotected HIV positive guys to have sex with bug chase and then come back to family dinner and tell you that he got infected on purpose to bother you. When everybody's like meeting for family Christmas and they're like, how's everybody's year been? He's like, I'll go first. I got HIV on purpose.
Yeah, he wraps you up. You think it's going to be a great gift at Christmas, and he just wraps it up, and it's this big box, and you open it up, and all it is a positive HIV test for him.
Yeah, no, it's a huge box of medication for him that he takes back from you. He's like, I got to take this
sorry.
every day of my goddamn life now.
If I don't take this, I'll die of AIDS.
Yeah, if I don't take this, I'm going to die of HIV. How do you like that? How do you like that? Fucking dads. That's like all those Midwest dads do that. It pisses me off. Yeah, I fucking hate when your dad straps like 15 pounds of C4 to himself and walks into a bank and says, I'll blow this bitch sky high if you don't give me $1 billion, which he knows they don't have. And then he goes up to some lady who's a teller. She's been working there for 3 weeks and he's got a gun and he's like, I'm not going to do anything. And he just shoots her in front of the whole bank.
I hate when my dad kidnaps the president's daughter and says, if you ever want to see your daughter again, you have to announce on live television that my son has a little dick and I used to shower with him and his dick was really small and no women should fuck him.
It's fucking ridiculous. Fuck dads when they do that embarrassing shit. My dad did the most. My dad did the most embarrassing shit when Gaza first invaded. The Hamas first invaded Israel. My dad was like, "Oh, okay, fine," and then he got on a plane and joined Hamas, and like just didn't ask anybody how they'd feel about it, and then was just sending us videos of him shooting a gun in the air, just being like, "Might as well just join fucking Hamas." The way nobody gives a fuck about anything anymore, and we were like, "Dude, what the fuck?"
Don't you hate when your dad becomes like the mayor of a city and then implements redlining so that the like black people have to live in really shitty areas and like it segregates them?
Yeah, when your dad embarrasses you by running on a campaign of Jim Crow segregation in West Hollywood. And he keeps saying that you're his son that's a comedian, and you're like, I don't want to be involved with this campaign.
Yeah.
And he's like doing speeches in a park where he's like, we will bring back an America that you fucking recognize. He's asking you to do stand-up at his fucking rallies. When
your dad goes to the census office and changes his name to CeeLo Hitler.
It's so fucked up when your dad changes his name legally to Hitler, which then legally changes your name to Hitler since you're his son. Even though it's not your decision and you're legally an adult, it's like irrevocable.
Your dad goes to the census office like, yeah, my son wants to change his name to Monty Hitler.
Yeah, Monty Hitler, CeeLo Monty Hitler Jr. And you actually have to go to the DMV yourself to get your license changed, otherwise you get pulled over. And you have to have a 45-year-old woman print out.
When your dad wears a mask with your face on it and goes into a daycare and just sprays goo all over him that's radioactive?
Yeah, I fucking hate that.
And then they all get cancer.
Yeah, when your dad commits a mass shooting at an orphanage in your name.
He's like, yeah, I planted a tree in your name. The tree was on top of the graves of all the kids who died at Sandy Hook.
Yeah. My dad was actually the guy that lit himself on fire outside of the Trump trial in New York.
Yeah. And he did it to make fun of the other guy who lit himself on fire.
Yeah, he did it just to embarrass me. It's Donald Trump! Dude,
I'm going to light myself on fire in protest of Cooper's bad grades.
That's got to be the dumbest motherfucker that's ever lit himself on fire. Is like, because
I don't know. I was reading his thing and I was like, he's got some points.
What was his point?
His points was that The Simpsons was like telling people that the world is run by a bunch of Harvard elites, which is like true.
He talks about The Simpsons?
He does. The Simpsons is part of his reason. I don't know if he was dumb so much as he just was schizophrenic.
Jesus. Yeah, okay. I mean, then I'm just making fun of a schizophrenic guy. But
you're like, that's the dumb. You see a guy, lying on the street mooing, and you're like, that's the dumbest guy I've ever seen.
Yeah. When I see a guy, I'm like, he is simply not intelligent. No, I mean, just compared to the other reasons people.
The Son of Sam is very dumb.
I was at a. You'll love this story. I was at a McDonald's last night at 2 a.m. waiting in line, and then I just heard this guy, and he was like, "Oh, get out of the fucking line!" And I thought he was in the car, But then like around the car just came a white homeless dude that he was like, go to hell, N-word. Like hard R. He's like, I hope you burn in hell, N-word. And then he ran past my car around the McDonald's and then followed him. It was like a 5'3", 45-year-old chubby Mexican dude who was getting called the N-word. He was the one calling the N-word. And he passed me. He was holding a baton. And when he passed my car, he looked at me and he was like, ah! He was like smiling. And then he chased the white homeless guy that was yelling the N-word. And when he was chasing him, he was still like 20 feet away. But I guess just to scare him, he held up his baton because the guy was screaming. He's like, burn in hell, N-word. And then the security guard went, ah! and was like, ah! And was like treating him like a bear of like getting loud. And then he like scared him off the property with yelling and shaking his fist. But it was literally like a TV show because security guard was like, ah! And then the homeless guy was like,
Which McDonald's was it?
It was the one off of fucking Vine or something. I don't know, Vine and like Sunset, something like that. But I think it was Vine and Sunset.
Dude,
but,
LA rules.
Dude, it was so funny because then right after he left, like we just kept going with the orders and kept it moving really quickly. But it was just funny because the lady at the cashier was like, oh, it's just funny because like they don't even apologize because why would they? You know, it's just sort of like, it is just very funny that like you just see that and you're just like, whoa, you know? Yeah. But he did get close to my car. I was like, oh man, because he was in a destroying stuff mood. So I was like, I really hope he doesn't just punch my window.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you can break a window, you know, they shatter.
Yeah, you ever see a guy and you're just like, oh, that's why they lock the doors at 7.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it did. Like I was just thinking about that security guard of like, you know, that guy probably didn't have much to do before this tonight. You know?
Yeah.
And then it's like, because I think the homeless guy was like banging on a guy's car.
Oh.
You know? So then it's like all of a sudden he has to run out and be like, ah! Like it's such a wild issue.
Yeah.
To be like, nothing's going on. And now there's a guy that's just losing it. I mean,
And that guy was my dad.
Yeah.
And he just did that to make me like embarrass me in front of all my LA friends.
Yeah, that was your fucking dad. I hate when your dad does that.
Yeah.
Your dad just be doing that type shit. But I don't know. It is what it is. I mean, my fucking dad took over Gavin McInnes's position as leader of the Proud Boys, but he did it ironically.
Yeah.
He was being all sarcastic about it.
Yeah.
So he was like, oh, I'm an annoying dad. I bet it would really annoy you if I galvanized a bunch of white supremacists. And I was like, yeah, it would bug me. And he fucking did it. And so I don't know. They're going back to the Capitol apparently, but
I was on the phone with my friend back home one time. And he was just at his house, and his dad just kept saying insane stuff about how the Holocaust was good.
Yeah, that's. I have such an opposite dad. I have a dad that's like Donald Trump, and I'm like, oh goddamn, there's worse problems than just Donald Trump. Like, he annoys me.
There's that guy I know.
He's still
from
a
back
dad
home.
about it.
I talked about that guy. I used to go over to this guy's house, and he just had a mound of trash in the living room.
Yeah,
like there was it was like a mountain of trash.
Yeah,
it was.
How does that guy vote?
Oh, that guy? My friend probably doesn't vote.
Yeah.
If he does, he probably votes for, like, whoever the Democrat is.
Mound of trash guy?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, because he's just like, I just like the Democrat because they've been ruining our cities and putting more trash in there.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm woke, and therefore I want to destroy every city.
That's what you think Democrats do? That's the campaigns they run on of more trash in this city. Our city will be so full of fucking shit by the time I'm out of office, I swear to God.
I will make everyone homeless. This will be the most homeless city ever because of woke PC culture.
Yeah, the one, the ironic mayor, I guess. It's just like, we will be trash city. It will be a trash.
I am changing the name of Los Angeles to Los Trashes.
You will not be able to drive. And I will be the king of the trash. The Grove will become my trash palace.
He goes to the dumpster and picks out like a Burger King fucking crown and puts it on.
Yeah, and he has like a summer palace in the hills that's just another mountain of trash with just bugs and snakes and rodents, and he just lays in it. And he's like, finally,
I'm going to make a bug angel in the trash.
Yeah, we should do that, you know, to cut down on the population in LA is just stop picking up the trash. And just when anybody comes here, just be like, that's just how we like it.
The mayor just eats bed bugs on the TV, man. This is LA.
The mayor sits in his bed, which he pours coffee into every single day to get more maggots and bed bugs. And then he just eats them and he puts it on KTLA. And it's the only television that you're able to watch in LA.
He banned TV.
He banned.
You're only allowed to watch the mayor eat bugs.
All you can do in LA is either go outside and eat trash or watch the only TV show, which is the mayor eating bugs. That's all it is. And sometimes
he says
shits.
it's because of woke PC culture.
And it's because this is apparently... I didn't know this because I'm a registered Democrat. This is apparently what Democrats want. And I feel like an idiot for voting for this guy because I thought he was going to get more social programs.
He said we're getting crime through the roof.
He's trying to get crime up to 3,000%, which I don't think is possible. But he has somehow more people have died here than anyone has in Israel in the last 9.
Actually, more people have died here than people have died in history. This is the most people who have ever died.
He wants more people to die here every day than there has ever been in history. So he wants everybody to die and or live in trash. And he's the king of trash.
And when somebody dies, they don't pick up the body. They say that's the ultimate trash.
He's giving...
You're just walking through bones and... through LA.
He's added sugar to all of the water and then given homeless people hoses to spray the city so everything is sticky. So it's just simple syrup coating the whole... He gave homeless people bombs. He gave them bombs.
He's on TV, and he's mainlining the rabies virus. He has a vial of rabies and just shoots it into himself.
He convinced homeless people to shoot themselves up with rabies and then strap bombs to their chests and walk into Bank of America.
Because that's what us Democrats want.
Apparently, Democrats want homeless people to suicide bomb Bank of Americas in major cities. This is apparently what they... And I feel like an idiot. He has also installed a lot of harm reduction centers, which is pretty cool, but mostly it's the rabies...
They're not starting harm reduction centers. They're like doing the opposite. It's like more harm center.
Yeah, the mayor of LA took 100,000 homeless people, strapped a bunch of C4 to them, and then dropped them over Catalina and blew it up. He used them as bombs. He used people as bombs and blew up Catalina. But, I
think Carlin might actually have a bit that's kind of like putting all the homeless people in LA, just sending them to, what's it called? Afghanistan with bombs or something? Does this ring any bells?
No, but...
It sounds like a very late Carlin to be like, we gotta kill everybody.
Yeah.
I'm George Carlin. We gotta... I have an idea for the world.
We need to get
a gun and we kill everybody.
What if I had a gun? That should be Carlin's last special. She just comes out. He's like, what if I had a gun? What if I shot you in the face?
Here's a list of people who deserve to be killed.
Here's something.
Audience member number 1 through 1,000.
Here's something you can't do on television. And then he shoots a lady. How do you like that, HBO?
George Carlin did just kind of turn into the Joker.
Home box office. Yeah, that would be sick. He went full Joker mode and just has he's just holding a thing that if he lets go of a button, the whole theater blows up for an entire hour. Yeah, I mean, that's what it's all about.
He's like, I gave a guy in prison a button. If he presses it, then the theater explodes.
Yeah, there's a lot of people.
But if he doesn't press it, the prison explodes.
A lot of people don't know is that the reason we have so many people who are homeless on the streets of LA is because we can't get them into homeless shelters because they are packed with C4 and they have so many bombs on them that it's really hard to get within 100 feet.
Yeah, it's like it's all C4 and like Nickelodeon slime because that's where they that's where they keep the Nickelodeon slime.
Well, people have no idea that pretty much LA, there's like 5 explosions a day of homeless people blowing up because they have C4 and slime strapped to their chest. So you just hear it throughout the city. And that's why people aren't able to get them into shelters because they're fucking exploding because the mayor, who's a Democrat, has been just strapping them with bombs.
Of course. He's a Democrat.
I mean, he said he was going to cut down on homelessness. This motherfucker is blowing them up. And it's causing...
Motherfucker is making potholes in the street because he said, I'm Democrat. Of course I am. Motherfucker is literally taking a jackhammer to streets to make more potholes because he's Democrat.
Just imagine you're walking up to a Starbucks and you see a homeless guy sitting outside and it's calm and then he just explodes. That's what's going on in LA. And then the mayor, meanwhile, is in the street with a jackhammer making potholes.
Yeah.
He says he wants LA to have the deepest pothole in
our
the
mayor,
world.
Johnny Dogshit.
Johnny Dogshit is trying to make every single street only potholes. So he's still leaving enough space for it to be a
Johnny
hole.
Pothole banned Johnny Dogshit banned water in LA. You're not allowed to drink water. You're not allowed to eat vegetables.
All you can do is drink piss and eat Dave's hot chicken.
And you're allowed to read Democrat books, but that's all. And all the Democrat books are like how to make more trash in the world.
It's just Charlotte's Web, except all the animals and bugs are homeless and made of trash. That's all you get to read is Charlotte's Web. Except
They actually
they're all
edited
homeless.
every book and to make the main character homeless.
Yeah, that's true. That's completely true. Nothing's untrue about that. Everything you said is true. All right, I have to go to work soon.
Yeah. We had a good 20, 30-minute segment of riffing, I feel like.
I mean, everything we said is true. So
yeah,
anyway.
I mean, this is all absolutely true. And if you don't believe it, I'm going to kill you. Me and Cooper are the worst, most sucker MCs in the world. We have bad breath, we smell bad, and everybody that we've dated cheats on us because we're not good partners. We have bad teeth and they're rotting, and we're poor, and we come from a bad family, and there's photos of our girlfriends sucking other guys' dicks.